So I've been to a lot of Geek Cons. This is my 7th year going, and I really wanted to see that if they're able to improve, or if they fall flat and they aren't able to change that much. So this is my review for Geek Kon 2016. So Geek Kon has been hosted for a very long time at the Madison Marriott West Hotel in Middleton, Wisconsin. And Middleton is a really great neighborhood. It's a really great place for a convention. It's a really nice neighborhood. There isn't really any crime there. It's in a pretty decent spot, and there's really no complaints about the location of the convention. And food is not really a problem here. Within walking distance, you have a Sprecher restaurant, you have a McDonald's, Five Guys, Starbucks, Noodles and Company, Fuddruckers, you have an Asian restaurant. There's so many options for you at this convention that you shouldn't have a problem with food. Along with that, the hotel does have a concession stand inside of like the convention center area where they do sell burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that if you really don't want to walk outside if it's rainy or something like that. Also, the hotel has kind of like a concession snack area where you can buy magazines, soda, painkillers, stuff like that. So if you ever really need those essentials, the hotel will also have those for you. Speaking of the hotel, the staff have always been accommodating. The 7 years that I've gone to Geek Kon, there's never been an issue with the convention center staff or the hotel staff whatsoever. They're always super friendly and well accommodating everybody that I encounter. The only issue that I have with this location is kind of a general issue that I've had for quite a long time, and that's the space that it has. So the space is used to its full potential, and it's getting to the point where they want to add new things, but not take away things, and they don't want to move, it seems like. So you're running into this problem where the hotel and convention center are not big enough for everything that they want to do. And a really prime example for this is that the buffer area was outside underneath a tent, and that kind of goes to show that it really isn't utilized the proper way, and I think that it could be put in a bigger location. If possible, somewhere like in Madison where there is bigger convention areas like the Alliant Energy Center, something like that. If they could possibly get something like that, that would honestly help the problem. And I think Geek Kon needs to make that next step in order for them to see an increased amount of attendees, as well as they can expand without worries of space issues. The guests this year at Geek Kon, the guests are always a little bit weird to talk about, because for people that haven't gone to Geek Kon for a long time, or they're relatively new, they don't really notice these kinds of trends that I start to see, because obviously I've gone to Geek Kon for 7 years. I start seeing the same people that are rotating almost in and out every other year, and it's kind of getting to the point where it's getting a little annoying. There's people that I see almost every other year, and I know that it seems like they're trying to change it. They do have 2 voice actors that I don't think I've ever seen at a Geek Kon before, but if I remember correctly, this was never an issue when I used to go to Geek Kon like 3 years ago. It never seemed to be that big of a problem, and I obviously don't know. I'm not going to say this is a problem for sure. I'm just saying this is something that I noticed looking back. However, I would like to say that I do appreciate their variety in guests. It's not all just voice actors. They have people in the past that have made board games, authors, comic book artists, and just pretty much anything geek related. And I think that's what really makes Geek Kon cool, is because it's not just an anime convention anymore. It kind of used to be, but now they're kind of starting to take in all of these different geek genres, and I think that's really cool for them to do. Going along with the guests, the panel list has always been something that I've noticed has a weird trend to it. And I don't know if this is because there aren't people submitting panels, if it's just the same people every single year submitting panels, or if they're just rejecting panels. But it seems like the same panels every single year are the ones that get placed, and that's really cool for people that have never gone to a Geek Kon before, because they've obviously never been to that panel.
This is a
but I've been to it came from the internet panel 3 times now, and I've been to a plethora of the other panels that they have. I've seen so many panels over and over and over again, and it just seems like there needs to be more originality in the panel list. And like I said, the solution obviously can't all be from the convention, and it's not really a huge issue for me because I don't really have time to go to panels that much anymore. So it's not that big of an issue for me when I don't see really panel originality. It just is something that I wish I could see, because if it's a panel that I've never heard of before and it sounds interesting, I probably will end up going. But if it's the same panels over and over again, I probably am going to be a little bit more hesitant to go. This is something that I have discussed in on another channel that I used to do that I'm not going to link because it is kind of embarrassing. However, I did review Geek Kon last year, and one thing that I did mention was the lack of 18 plus panels, and how I don't think that necessarily means that if there are 18 plus panels, it still can't be a family-friendly convention. And I'm going to reiterate that point here because I still think it still stands. I didn't see any 18 plus panels this year at Geek Kon, and I don't know if it's because they didn't list it on the schedule website, but when I was checking on the website, it didn't show any 18 plus panels, and I checked the schedule 3 or 4 times, and I just noticed that there was never any 18. I just noticed there weren't any 18 plus panels, and like I said, I don't know if that was because of the website not showing it or what. However, last year there were maybe 2 or 3 18 plus panels, and this year, supposedly, if I am right, there are none. And I don't necessarily think that's a really wise decision, because 18 plus panels can be a lot of fun, especially for older con goers like myself. I'm obviously 22 years old. I really like mature humor because obviously I'm an adult. I don't know why they get rid of 18 plus panels, because there used to be a lot of them. I remember going to Geek Kon and I always were seeing these 18 plus panels when I was in high school, and I'd always be super excited to go to them. And then when 18, 19 came around, and I was able to go to some, and it was a lot of fun, and then they just stopped having them, and I don't understand why. And I'm just going to make an assumption and think that it's because they want to make it a more family-friendly environment. However, the problem with that is that you're not really isolating anybody except the older people. And what I mean by this is that when you take away 18 plus panels, they're only at like 11 or 12 at night or in the morning, or super early, like 2 a.m. And the people that are under 18 are probably not going to be up anyway, so you're not really having them lose out on anything, really. Because if they're coming with their parents or whatever, they're not going to have them go out and not be able to do anything at panels, right? So I think it's just more isolating to the people that are over 18 that like to go to those panels, rather than you're helping make it a better place for everybody. And I don't really like that idea. There have been plenty of conventions that I've gone to that have had a ton of 18 plus panels, and they're still considered a family-friendly convention. So the game room has always kind of been a weird place for me, because it's been the same for so long that it's kind of hard to say whether or not it's good or bad. It's just if you go to Geek Kon multiple years in a row, you know what is going to be in there. And this year was a little different, and I think that made it a little bit of a letdown, because I went to Geek Kon and I knew what was going to be there. And this year some stuff was missing, but they did add some things. So I'm going to go over what they added and then what they kind of got rid of. So if you are new to Geek Kon and you went this past year, you'll notice that the computers are in the game room now. The LAN room is in the game room. And that's not how it used to be. And I think that was the best change that Geek Kon made actually last year. They actually had the LAN room in a different area, and it was a little weird, kind of, if you wanted to just play games, you had to walk all the way across the hotel. So I thought it was a good addition, and that freed up a hotel space for another thing. And this year it was autographs and photo shoots. Also, they added a Just Dance like projection screen, and I thought that was super cool. People were able to kind of dance on this giant screen that they had in the corner. They had a projection screen. I think they were playing Smash Brothers on it, and they were doing tournaments on it and whatnot. And then also they had more retro arcade machines on the side. So they had retro arcades on the side. I think those you had to pay money for. I didn't really use them. However, I don't know, because they did have a change machine there. I think that might have been just for the pinball machines. I don't know. So for one thing I would like to mention is they got rid of the Rock Band stage. I don't know why they did this, because the Rock Band stage was kind of the most unique thing that I've ever seen at a convention. I don't think there's any other con that I've gone to that has had a stage just for Rock Band. And it was so cool because you got to see people like performing on stage to their favorite songs. All your group of friends would go up there, you'd play a song, you'd rock out, and it would be played all across the entire game room. And not to mention that, they just completely got rid of Rock Band. I don't know where it went. I don't know if the instruments broke or what, but I don't necessarily think that you're upgrading the game room by putting a projection screen playing Smash Brothers where the Rock Band stage was. It really doesn't add anything to the game room. It was such a unique feature, and you just got rid of it altogether. So last year when I went to Geek Kon, there was a game called House of the Dead, and it was broken. And it's been broken the past couple of years that it's been there. And I remember this because I love House of the Dead. I think it's a fun game. But I would always get there at about like 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Friday, so I always just assumed that somebody would just break it because they're just stupid. So I pretty much got there as soon as the game opened, and I got there and the machine was broken. So I have to make the assumption that they never fixed the machine, but they still bring it, which to me just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why would you bring a machine that's broken to a convention that nobody can play just to have it there? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, either fix it or don't bring it and bring something else, because they're just bringing it and they're just kind of having people make the assumption that somebody already broke it when they got there. But if you've gone a number of years, you start to realize that's not been the case. So this year's rave was pretty decent. I would say that last year's rave was better, but that doesn't mean that this year's rave was bad. It was so much fun to go to. The DJs there were so good, and they had a really good variance of which DJs they had that played different styles. They had like a DJ battle, and I thought that was pretty cool. So like one DJ would play a mix, and then the next DJ would play a mix. They had a really good mix of dubstep, EDM, trap music, hardstyle, a really decent mix, and I think it was a really good rave. And I think Geek Kon's raves generally kind of get a lot of hate. Like, they're definitely not as good as other raves that I've been to, but I still think they put on a really good show for the size of the convention that they have. So the last thing I will talk about is the dealer's room and the artist alley. And last year I kind of gave the dealer's room a little bit of flack because it was the same stuff every single year. But this year, that year, they kind of took stuff away. But this year it was a lot better, and they had different dealers this time, and they had really cool products, unique products. Like, one of the dealers had etched wood and glasses that you could buy, so it was glass etched artwork, and that was super cool. There was a dealer that had a ton of wall scrolls, which is something that was missing last year, and I don't know why, but the wall scrolls are back. And even old dealers seem to be bringing new stuff. They were bringing more stuff with them, and I think it's super cool to see all these dealers kind of bringing in more and more stuff. So the dealer's room, definitely an improvement from last year, and I really do commend them for that. And it was definitely a really good dealer's room to go into. It's still a small dealer's room, but with the size of the convention, you can't really complain with what you get. It's a pretty decent size for the convention size that Geek Kon is. The artist alley really doesn't change that much from year to year, just because it depends on which artists apply to go to the artist alley. I did notice a couple of new artists to Geek Kon, but that doesn't mean that they're new to the area. It's really cool to see these artists making the rounds and kind of being more successful in a way. But Geek Kon has a lot of good options for prints, just general artwork, and it's super cool to go. I think there were people just painting on canvas this year, which I think that was super cool. So definitely the dealer's room in the artist alley is a plus for me. It was super cool to go in there and see everything that they had. So now I'm going to go over the pros, the cons of the convention, give a general conclusion, and then the final grade. If you are new to my channel and you don't know how my reviews work, I don't review it based on a number score, I base it on like a letter grade. First off, let's go into the pros. The first pro that I have is obviously the rave. The rave was a lot of fun. It was definitely really good for the size that the convention had, and I think the people that run the rave know what they're doing. X-Geek, I think, are the people that sponsor the rave. They're super cool people. I got to talk to some of them. They're super chill, and they seem to know what they're doing when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. So a really good job from X-Geek and all the DJs and all the other people that helped with the rave. And then I put the dealer's room and the artist alley because, like I said, an improvement from last year. I think they definitely saw issues with the dealer's room, or they just got new vendors and artists, and it definitely helped a lot. Now we'll be talking about the cons of the convention, things that I think they really need to improve on. The first one being the game room. Obviously, like I said, with the arcade machines not working when you bring them, I don't know why you guys are doing this, and I can't imagine that between the time that you set up the game room and I get there, that it gets broken between that period of time. I'm not going to believe that anymore. And then the same with the Rock Band stage. You took it away. I don't know why. If you don't have Rock Band anymore or whatever, it just was a pretty big letdown. You did add things to the game room, however, it just didn't seem like you added the right things. The retro machines were nice, but you're kind of taking away something and then trying to add something not as fun to kind of make up for it almost. And it just, to me, doesn't seem like that great of an improvement. So that's kind of what I think they need to fix on. The next thing being panels, and I really didn't talk about panels that much. The one thing I did forget to mention with panels is it seemed like there was a lack of them, and it just seemed like there were only 2 or 3 panels going on at a time, but there are about like 6 or 7 panel rooms that are available, and this might not be an issue that the convention has. This might just be something like the attendees not applying for panels, and so I'm not really going to dock points based on the lack of the panels, but however, I am going to dock points about the lack of the 18+ panels, because it seems like less and less keep happening every year, and I don't think that it's necessarily the attendees' fault. The last thing I'm going to be talking about is the use of space, and what I mean by this is that pretty much everything is used in the convention center and the hotel room. They even use the cosplay chests in the main lobby. Kind of just putting the buffer area outside to me just kind of shows that you guys have no more room at all, and you really need to pick a better space if you want to keep adding things, or you'll just have to take things away that people might not necessarily be interested in. So in conclusion, this year's Geek Kon I was kind of disappointed in. However, I was disappointed the last couple of years, and I think that's just kind of because I started going to more conventions and I started noticing the things that they were doing wrong. I think Geek Kon is a great convention for younger people. If you are between the ages of like 13 to 16, it's a really good convention because it's a really small one. It's not that daunting when you first go. I know because this is my first convention that I went to with Geek Kon all the way back in 2010. So I know, and it's definitely a great con for just people to go hang out. But I think it just ends at that, and I think it can do better than just being the convention for people that are just starting out, going to conventions, and people that just want to hang out. I kind of want it to be more than that. I kind of want to look forward to going to Geek Kon because there's cool things going on, not because cool people are going to be there. So with that being said, I give Geek Kon a final grade of a C-. I do think that it needs to improve. Otherwise, I think more and more people are going to stop going to Geek Kon, especially returning people, and you're going to start seeing number drops. I really do hope that Geek Kon does improve, because it was obviously my first convention. It has a near and dear place in my heart because it really did help me get into anime, because I didn't really know about anime before I went to Geek Kon. I really hope that this review kind of helps, and I hope everybody did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you did enjoy this review, and if you didn't, let me know what I can improve on. Also, if you like this kind of content and you're new, check out my other stuff. I do a lot of convention content, and if you do really like all the stuff I do, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because it does mean a lot, and it shows that I am doing at least something right here. That is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys all did enjoy once again, and I will see all of you guys at the next convention. See ya.